Hi guys, hi. I'm so glad I can join you. Apologize I wasn't with you last week. My kid's been sick and we've been all pretty sick for almost 3 weeks now, but we are on a mend now. And as promised, I'm joining you live this Friday. We changed our Facebook Lives from Saturdays to Fridays now. So I'm really happy to be here with you. And today I'm super excited because we are going to talk about emotions. Emotions are one of those things that a lot of times my clients are kind of asking me, like, Lucia, how do I manage my emotions? I'm like a thunderstorm, when I go, I just go. It's uncontrollable. Like I don't know how to manage this whole thing, and like give me some kind of tool. So today we will be talking all about emotions, and especially about emotions from perspective of a female, like emotions in general. What are they responsible for, and the most importantly, how to use emotions, not only to control them, but how to actually use emotions so they serve us in life. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you are ready for this, and if you are watching us live, just put live in the comments, or if you are watching us from replay, just put hashtag replay, so we know how many people are actually with us live. I can see more of you are joining now. Just brief introduction. My name is Lucia Hoxa. I'm fertility mindset coach, and I support women for almost 20 years now to live the life they love. So I specialize on fertility about some time ago, about 3 years ago. Unofficially and officially last November, so it will be 1 year. I'm specialized in this area, but really it's still a lot of you coming through with mainly relationships kind of issues, or something that you are dealing with. And that's not only relationships in terms of male and female, but also relationships with ourselves, which I think is the amazing thing, that you are coming to me also saying, listen, I would love to treat myself in a more kind way, but I've got these habits that are not serving me, and I know what I should be doing, but I'm not doing it, and it's just not happening, and I don't know how to change it because life is just too fast and happening too quickly. Sarah, hi, thank you very much. I'm joining you from my kids' bedroom. They just fall asleep, so I closed all the doors so we can have this precious time with each other. Guys, this is interactive, so send us a comments, give me questions. Of course, I don't know everything, but this is about us very openly talking about things that matter in life, and I would love to know what you are dealing with, especially last couple of weeks. I've been working a little bit less because we haven't been very well, but I've had a lot of people reaching out to me. By the way, I just want to share this with you, with kind of that feeling like it's overwhelmed of everything, like what is happening, like the winter. Well, at least here where I'm joining you from, in Slovakia, winter started very quickly. It's very dark. This is the season where it's a little bit doom and gloom, and a lot of us are kind of suffering of this feeling of a little bit of like sadness or depression and overwhelm, and kind of like too much of a too muchness. So a lot of you have been reaching out to me even with psychological issues, and I just want to say I'm so grateful for your trust, for your, for you reaching out to me, because every single time you guys reach out to me, I have a chance to identify who is there, who I can serve and help, and that makes me to feel like I'm living my life with the purpose that I'm here for. So thank you so much for that, and keep on doing that. I'm here for you. And hello to everyone. So let us know where you joining us from. Just to remind you guys, we are going to be talking about emotions today, and especially about how to manage our emotions. So I don't know how long my kids will be sleeping, so let's get on with it, because I'm actually alone with them today. Most of the days these days, actually. So first of all, let's say, what are emotions? Okay, so emotions are really our response to any given situation in that particular moment. So it's really our reactions on what's going on around us, on our external, on external, whatever is happening externally, but also emotions sometimes are triggered, as you probably will know, by just this inside feeling. You know, sometimes we feel down, but we have no particular reason for it. You know, it doesn't have to be some, like someone died or something, or that we've been fired from work or some kind of reason. And sometimes to identify and deal with those particular emotions is even harder. Why? Because we don't know where it's coming from. We're just feeling certain way, like I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling down, I'm feeling depressed, but I don't really know why. I can't even tell you how many clients I had who came to me and said, Luz, you know, my life is good. I have everything. Like from outside, it looks great. I'm successful. My kids are healthy, or, you know, like everything is fine. But there is just something missing in my life. I can't put a finger on it. But Lenka is sending us like, Lenny, is this communicates to you? Or, you know, I believe it's many of us, right? Like sometimes we feel like we are not somehow happy or satisfied, but we can't really explain why. So there are emotions who are, we know where they're coming from, and then we have emotions where we have no idea where it's coming from, and that's even harder to deal with, because of course when we don't know where it's coming from, how we can do anything about it. So I love to work with you, because this way we can get to the bottom of the root of, okay, what is really happening. And the consciousness alone about this thing brings you awareness, which brings you a opportunity to deal with it powerful, to conquer it, and essentially to get much happier. And thank you for all of you joining. So decision, like the emotions are responsible for a lot of things in our lives. On the basis of our emotions and our ability to control them or not, we make decisions in life, right? We make even like important life decisions. So it can be anything small from, you know, when you're happy, you do a lot of purchases. Like you go in sometimes when you're unhappy, you do a lot of purchases as well to suppress something that is missing maybe. But you know, like normally when we are happy, we vibrate on a, what I call higher frequency, and which is close to love, or you know, like those emotions, those positive emotions we all know about. And we have a tendency to be more open to the world, more friendly with people, even talk with strangers, you know, like all those things, like good stuff is happening in our life. Did you notice that? Like, it's like a law of attraction, right? Like we attract great things, and things are kind of, we are in a flow because we are truly connected, or connected with ourselves. But when we are disconnected, which is pretty much all the time, where we feel this emptiness, depression, sadness, anger, you know, all those negative emotions that, by the way, are as valid as positive emotions. It's just at that time, life seems to be much harder. Even like basic things like going to work and dealing with general day-to-day tasks seem to be a real hard work. So we feel very disconnected. So emotions are responsible for our decision making. And you can imagine, like, if we are not able to separate emotion from, you know, the decision making, whatever is right or wrong for us in that moment, that can be a little bit tricky. So one first very important reason why it's important to conquer our emotions and to be able to identify them. Emotions are also very important in our relationships. You know this, I'm just reminding you. When you come home stroppy from work and your husband looks at you, he doesn't even have to look in a bad way or certain way. You just spit it in his face. Who knows what I'm talking about? Yes, it's all about relationships. In fact, probably the reason why you are reaching out to me about relationships when you want to support. It is that our life is predominantly about our relationships towards others, towards obviously our closest people that surround us, and also towards ourselves. Now, of course, whatever mood we are in, we impact others around us. Sometimes, girls, we don't even have to speak, and our people know there is something wrong, or like, I know my husband, like when I'm not in a good mood, he's just kind of like being quiet around and tiptoeing around. And sometimes I even tell him very openly, like, this is a really bad day for me, please don't talk to me, I just need a space. And that's actually one of the really great things about being able to understand our emotions, because we understand, when we are consciously realizing, like, okay, I'm just being triggered, I'm being grumpy, and it's because of this, when we are able to communicate it, my God, it's so much freedom. We get so much freedom around it. Why? Because we get to understand what's going on in here, and also we are able to communicate it to our spouse, so he or she doesn't think that it's his fault. We are able to say and communicate, look, listen, this is nothing to do with you, I'm just being a stroppy bitch today, and I want to apologize in advance, please give me a space. And it works beautifully. It doesn't create unnecessary tension, it doesn't cause unnecessary arguments, you avoid a lot of problems, and you avoid, you are actually saving yourself a lot of times. Because I know when I used to have moments when I bursted into my husband, it was nothing to do with him, it was all to do with me. Then I spent a lot of time apologizing and all that, and so you save yourself a lot of time being aware and being able to understand your emotions. Another thing that obviously emotions do is they impact our day-to-day interactions with people, even in a workspace, in a work environment. Thank you very much for your hearts, by the way. Even in a workspace, right? Like, the way you get along with your colleagues, the way you communicate with your boss, the way you it is even energetically what is coming out of you. Like, I know when I have a bad day, even like in a shop, I have a tendency to meet people who get stroppy with me, but vice versa. When I'm having a good day, like today, I went shopping with my kids earlier, and one lady like offered me a change for a little car for my kids, so while I was packing the bags, and we had a nice little chat, and she said, I know I have a kids, and I was like, wow, you are super mom. And she said, yes, I've got 4. And it was just this little nice banter that I felt like I want to have, because I was in a good mood. But I know if I'm in a stroppy mood, nobody would even offer me a change, because, why would you talk to people who look grumpy, right? So it is about day-to-day interactions, and really about making our lives easier as well. And of course, emotions, and a huge part of being able to control our emotions in a positive way is about self-care. And I want to really hear from you because I don't want to be alone feeling this, and I know I'm not. Did you ever notice, girls, that whenever we feel like emotionally drained and exhausted and, kind of tired and low in general, did you notice that we don't have a tendency to make good choices for our health and well-being? Emotions are very closely connected to self-care. The way we perceive ourselves, the way we treat ourselves, and subsequently the way others treat us. It's very, very much connected. So emotions are hugely responsible for how we actually look after ourselves, our well-being, our mental well-being, and how we wake up in the morning. Like when you're going to sleep, feeling like, oh my God, tomorrow is another day at work and I just can't wait it to be over. It's not very powerful way to be in this space, because then the chances are in the morning you wake up and it's not the better day, or it might be the better day, but you're still kind of rolling with the same kind of emotions. One important thing I wanted to mention is that emotions have a tendency to kind of attach themselves to another, like one thing leading to another. Emotion, the triggered emotion is leading up to action, that is leading up to reaction, that is leading up to my career, but I have to, okay, I hope we are back again. They will have to wait or drop me it somewhere else. So actions leading to reactions. So, literally when we go, we get, and then we go, or we go, literally like that, right? Like, I hope you are laughing on the other side, because that would be laughter of sorry guys, these people are really trying to get hold of me. It's from Romania. Sorry. I keep on switching, and they keep on calling. So hopefully they got a message now. So we are talking here about emotions. So let me tell you a little bit more about it. Any questions, please let me know. So far we've been talking about what our emotions are responsible for. So now, very just few pointers to get you started in terms of how to control your emotions. Let's just get into it, because I don't know when my kids are waking up. So I would love to hear from you, first of all. If you have any tips, please bring them on, because if you share with us, even I will learn, girls will learn. I love that kind of interaction. So first of all, I want to ask you, like, how do you manage your emotions? And do you manage your emotions? Like, how do you do it, girls? Like, when you feel, and I'm talking especially about negative emotions, right? Because positive ones are easy to deal with. And I want to, if we are happy, let's just share the happiness. Let's just park this for a moment. Let's talk about those things that my people are coming to me. And mostly those things are negative emotions, like anger, like frustration, like depression, or borderline depression, the exhaustion, the all those, the grumpiness, jealousy. So all these emotions, we call them negative, but they're also very, very valid, very human. I have them, you have them, we all have them. So how do you deal with these emotions? There are a few ways how we can deal with our emotions. If we are unconsciously dealing with them, let's face it, we just go along with them. Yeah, we just go along with our emotions, and so if you are like frustrated, that's the favorite emotion of men, by the way, very common, we just go with it, and the frustration leads to another frustration, and then you spill the milk, and then you swear, and then more and more things have a tendency to go wrong, and it's just a little bit like a snowball. If we don't take a pause, or if we don't interrupt this kind of chain of things, it has a tendency to keep on going. In a better scenarios, maybe for a couple of hours, like it happens to me sometimes. In worse scenarios, sometimes even for days or even months, So first kind of pointer in terms of how to deal with our emotions, I would say, well, take a look at the impact of your emotions. So whatever negative emotion you feel, have a look at the impact of it. Like, what does it really do? So rather than trying to avoid them, like we are often trying to be good girls, just to behave well, and emotions are closely linked also to guilt. And we are trying to avoid those negative emotions. What I would like to encourage you as a first kind of very unusual advice is, when you feel negative emotion while you are in it, girls, and try to remember it next time you feel something like this. Have a closer look. Have a closer look. So, you know, when you are like angry and you want to punch something. I had like a day like that a few days ago, actually. I just wanted to hit something. I was like, ah! You know, and it's really good to, I know it's hard, but it's good to stop in that emotion and just look like, wow, with real like inquiry and interest, like, where is that coming from? Like, where is it coming from? Like, look at it closely, because emotion is a very healthy thing. It's actually giving you signal that something is off. Okay, something is not in line with you, something is not in line with your life, and normally it's not the little thing that annoys you, is what is behind it. Okay, so if your husband bought a wrong type of tomatoes, it's not about the tomatoes. It's about the fact that he doesn't care. That triggers and makes you annoyed. Or is it about the fact that, you know, he doesn't pay attention to you, that he doesn't listen to you? It's always something behind it, and it's even deeper than that, because if he doesn't listen to you about the kind of tomatoes you wanna for your goulash or whatever, the chances are that this is a trigger from your childhood about not being listened to in the childhood in one way or another, not being paid attention to, not, you know, I don't want to go into details, but you get the gist, right? So take an impact of your emotions. Hi Lisa, hi Martinka. I see more and more of you joining, so sorry I'm not. Satwinder, oh my god, some of you I can't even, Susanna, I can't even pronounce the name, so I'm not going to try, but welcome everyone. So first of all, I said take a closer look at your emotions with that kind of interest, saying, wow, you know, like, where is this coming from? You know, how is this, and the impact of it, how this is actually causing a problem in my life. I want to give you a nice example of actually a few days ago when I had a like strong emotion of anger. I was driving a car and I had the kids behind me, and what do you do when you are alone and like kind of, you know, it's been 2 weeks, we've been sick, I haven't slept, and I had every single reason to be angry, and I was like kind of, I have enough of this. They were supposed to be in kindergarten, and, you know, I was like so frustrated, and, you know, so I was in a car, and on the way to arrange something with my kids at the back, and I just played this music. Obviously I put it a little bit loud, obviously not so they go deaf, bless them, but, you know, I put it loud and I was just like singing them. I was like singing the thing, but like with that kind of, you know what I mean, like to release that emotion. And kids actually thought it's hilariously funny, because emotion of anger in that moment gave me so much energy and I just needed to get it out. And unfortunately, I didn't have any trampoline nearby. I swear to God, I would be jumping or punching if I have a opportunity in that moment, but I was stuck in a car. So I started singing, and I was singing loud, and the kids joined me and they thought it's funny. So you can channel your emotions in a right way, and surprise I felt a little bit better at the end of it. So it's just a little, you know, kind of you can always, obviously it's about improvisation, but it is important, and that will be my next point, like to rather than repress negative emotions, to get it out, but get it out in a safe environment like a, you know, punch bag in a gym, or running, like I used to run till I couldn't run anymore, or somewhere, you know, safe. Like, try the best way, you know, channel them, but releasing these kind of emotions is very, very important. Please, I beg you girls, do not suppress your emotions, because you and I know, and I just remind you this, if we suppress our emotions, it will explode. Sooner or later it will explode uncontrollably and at the worst possible time. I promise you, I'm I'm the expert in this, and because I'm very passionate about what I do, but the positive things I can get out of myself, also it can go wrong way too. So don't worry, I'm also human. I'm just like you. So please release your emotions, be conscious of your emotions, cry it out, you know, allow the emotions to flow, because otherwise you will bottle it all down, you will suppress it, or even worse, you will become numb. And I want to pause here a little bit what it actually means when we become numb from emotions. I didn't even have it in notes, but it just came across now as a something I want to share with you girls. So I had some time ago, I was, working very hard, and it was just that moment in my life when it was getting like too much of everything. It was like too much. But because it continued for quite some time, I didn't have a time to get present to how hard it is, how I'm feeling. I didn't have a time to acknowledge my emotions, or to, never mind releasing them. So what happened is that I stopped feeling. It's hard to believe because I'm someone who feels everything. But yes, in that stage of my life, I stopped feeling. It is actually protective mechanisms for us, because a lot of times when we actually feel too much of a pain in our lives, our brain, our mind, our heart protects ourselves from feeling anything. So I want to share with you, not just on a theoretical level, but I want to share with you the fact that I didn't even know I don't feel until I knew something is off. I felt very strange. I felt very kind of numb, like nothing was giving me pleasure. I couldn't laugh anymore. I couldn't even get angry. It was just this line, like none of that. I felt like a machine. And I remember we've done one long journey with my husband at that time, and there was nowhere to go, nothing else to do, just sit in a car. And I finally started talking. I finally had time to talk and to release emotions, and I started crying. And I remember the first tear, it felt so good. And I finally started speaking and releasing all these emotions, and I started crying, and then the song came out and I started crying uncontrollably. But it felt so good. So, sometimes when we suppress our emotions for some time, and the most important thing is that we don't even know it's happening. We just know there is something wrong with us, or something doesn't feel right, but we don't really know what is happening. And a lot of times what is happening is really that we are suppressing everything internally. We are not able to speak about it. And because we are not able to communicate it and speak about it, we can't even tell our friends or our spouses like what's going on, because we don't know, and then they can't help us, and it's just kind of vicious circle. So that's why I always say coaching therapy is so important, especially if you have someone who you trust, who is really good professionally as well, and personally sits with you, because going through the process and allowing yourself, giving yourself regular time to stop and pause and see what's going on in your life and how you are feeling, finally giving yourself a space for you is just absolutely crucial. And I dare to say, the faster the life is, the demands, and I don't know if you feel similar way, but I feel like the life is speeding up as the older we get. And it's getting more and more challenging in some ways, right? If we don't have a tools, and if we don't have a support to deal with all these demands and emotions that we are feeling connected with everything, even like subconsciously listening to the news, it's horrendous what is in there. It's horrendous, most of it, right? How do we process it? How do we wake up in the morning still with the desire to look forward to a new day? Yeah. So that's what I want to say about emotions. Please ask me questions that let me know. Give me a thumbs up if this is making sense so far. I would love to know if this is communicating with you. Any kind of like sign, heart, thumbs up. I would love that. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what happens when emotions get out of hand. Okay, and then we will talk a little bit more about, sorry because I skipped this, then we will talk a little bit more about how to actually deal with emotions. But very briefly, emotions that actually get out of our hands, and you know what I mean, when you explode, or you don't even have to explode, when you're just constantly grumpy and unapproachable to people. Example, what can this lead to is relationships or friendship conflicts, is leading to difficulty in relating to others. If you're not feeling good in your own skin and you don't feel like you're happy, you're unlikely to pick up the phone and say, hey, would you like to go for a coffee? You have a tendency to hibernate and to hide, frankly, from the world. I do that, I do that, we all do that. So we are lacking in social contact, which is again depriving us from certain kind of happiness and freedom. We also get the trouble at work or school. We get an urge to substances like smoking, alcohol, whatever in our minds falsely helps us to feel better. So we have harder time to manage all these substances, or even overeating. It's all connected with emotions. Girls, you know it. We don't need to eat like the whole fridge when we are happy. In fact, when we are really happy, we don't even think about food so much, do we? Like when you are like up to something in life, or you're going scuba diving or doing something that you're really passionate about, you don't feel like you need to stuff your face. So it's really, really connected. And of course, like is about physical or emotional outbursts that are these explosions that are leading to complicating our lives and leading into towards like relationship kind of conflicts and further hiccups, and as I mentioned before, it has a tendency to snowball. So how to deal with managing our emotions powerfully? Well, aim for regulation, not repression. That's something I mentioned before, but I want to emphasize it again. Regulation, not repression. Do not repress your emotions. Like when your husband do something or says something and it makes you angry, do not just swallow it. By all means, take your time to kind of digest it, to process it, to see how you felt. If you can, that is very good to take that break and that space. But come back to it. And when you are, preferably when you are fairly calm, say to him something like, honey, when you said such and such, it made me feel this way. And I just want to know like why you said that, because it made me feel like I'm not, or I am this and that. Yeah, and make sure he's listening as well, because man's got a head in the clouds and they can only focus on one thing. So before you speak to your husband about your emotions, tell him, honey, this is something really important, and try to get to the point. Try not to go around, because man's got very, very short attention span. So we need to get to the point. Otherwise, if they don't see the point, they switch off. Okay, just a little advice. So aim for regulation, not repression. Now, emotions that are not processed processed powerfully can lead to anxiety, depression, even sleep issues. I have one client with severe sleeping issues at the moment, with difficulties in managing stress, even like, I'm not talking about like huge stress or challenges in life, even like day-to-day stress, and of course substance misuse. So my third advice on this one is to identify what you're feeling. And at the beginning, I appreciate sometimes it's very hard to give it a name or to even describe it, but don't give up there. If you don't see or have no idea what's going on with you, do not give up there. Don't get obsessive about trying to find out either. But try to find someone, and I always say professional is always the best person to talk to, because friends can misunderstand or perceive it from their point of view, not from that objective perspective. So that's why professional to talk to about your emotions is the best person, because it's non-judgmental and it is really, this person is there for you fully. So take a time to check in with your emotions. And even if you don't know where it's coming from, if you get really stuck, please reach out for support. But if you can't see straight away, try to kind of be open and be in that inquiry. Don't make your emotions wrong, and please don't make yourself wrong, because the reason why you're feeling emotion, whatever it is, jealousy, anger, any kind of negative emotion, the reason why you're feeling this emotion is that you ready for it? A human being. You're a human being and you're totally allowed to feel what you feel, and it's absolutely normal. What we are having a conversation about here is that I must stand for you not to have your emotions overwhelmingly directing your life in such a way that it gets out of control or it's not working as well as you would like to. Being able to take charge of our emotions is very, very powerful, because then you get to be designing your life the way you want it, or getting much, much closer to the way you really, really want it. Even if you're in place you don't believe that it can happen, trust me, it can happen, and you can turn it around, whatever you are dealing with. So the best kind of questions, just to be a little bit more concrete, to recognize to what's going on with you emotionally, is ask yourself kind of questions like, what am I feeling right now? You can write them down if you want, guys. What am I feeling right now? Disappointed, confused, furious. Another question that might help is, what happened to me that I'm feeling this way? What happened to me that I'm feeling this way? Yeah, try to have a look. Another question is, does the situation have different explanation than whatever makes sense? Yeah. So maybe the person who reacted to you, that triggered this emotion, is nothing to do with you. Maybe they feel very stressed, very tired. Maybe it's absolutely nothing to do with you. Okay, so putting things into perspective really helps with our emotional state, especially when it's triggered by someone else. Another question you might want to ask yourself is, what do I want to do about these feelings? Like, am I happy to stay in this state? Like, sometimes it's good to be angry, like it feels good. Then go with it. But, obviously when it lasts for long, you don't really want to repeatedly get into emotion that is not serving you and stay there for too long. That's more important. So, what do I want to do about these feelings? Ask yourself that question. Is there a better way how I can cope with this emotion right now? So all these questions are giving you some kind of like inside look about what's going on with your emotion. and also is bringing up the awareness, the consciousness into the situation, the way you feel, and you're validating. This is very important. You're validating your emotions, like, hey, it's actually great. Even you will be thinking it's silly, but it actually helps me. Is good to talk to your emotion like it's not you. And this is very important. You are not your emotion. If you're angry, it doesn't mean you're an angry person. You're just angry in that particular moment. Yeah? If you're frustrated, it doesn't mean that you are frustration or you're this person who's always frustrated. It's just you in that particular moment. So dissociating yourself with emotions. I know one of my clients recently sent me a message saying, do you know what? Just this little tool gave me so much freedom in life. In practice, right? When she started applying, and that's a little bit trickier application. That's why coaching is so powerful. But dissociating yourself with emotion is a very powerful tool, because in that moment you realize you have a freedom. You don't need to carry on with it. You have a choice. Very important, accept your emotions. So again, don't fight them. The more it's like a pain. Did you ever had a really, really bad migraine, like headache? I used to have them. If it's one of those headaches when you can't see the light, no noise, you can't stand anything, just really being in darkness, and take some painkillers. That's, if you fight the pain, you going down the drain is really not a good idea. Because once you fight the pain is going to fight back. And the same thing is with our emotions. When we clash head to head, instead, acknowledge, I'm frustrated, I'm grumpy, I'm angry, I'm depressed. Wow, I'm depressed. Where is it coming from? Okay, get interested. Don't fight the emotion. Don't make yourself wrong. It's like something wrong with me. I'm depressed. I've been depressed for half a year. I don't know what's going on. Don't invalidate your emotion, and most important, don't invalidate yourself. Yeah, there is a reason behind it. And again, reach out for support if you are, struggling to get out of that space. So being able to communicate your emotions, it can look something like this. Like you can say, I don't know, I'm upset, silly example. I'm upset because I keep losing my keys, which makes me late, which have implications. And, and then what am I putting in place is that I'm going to put the keys in one spot from now on, and that's how I'm going to deal with it. Now, this is a little bit of practical example of, losing the keys or something. Emotions are so much more complex, but I just gave you this as a little example. If you get to the root of something that makes you annoyed or frustrated, get to the root of it. And once you get to the root of it, obviously not the key situation, but for example, when my husband leaves for, not my husband, but example, when husband leaves for a football match and leaves the woman with 3 kids at home, she feels like she's been abandoned. Is it really true? Is he abandoning her? I mean, of course, we can talk about if he's going for a football match every single evening, then it's a different matter. But I'm talking about, once in a while, a caring husband in general, and he goes for a football match. Why she's feeling abandoned? Well, there might be some kind of deeper issues behind it. Something to do with her past. So awareness is a really, really big key with dealing with our emotions. Another practical tip is keep the journal. Keep the journal where you can write down everything that you experienced in your day, how you're feeling. Very, very, very good tool. Now, unfortunately, there is so little time we now find to speak to one another about, what we feel here. Yes, we talk to a lot of people every day, all day, but I dare to say it's not so often that we have these really close heart-to-heart conversations with each other where we talk about things that actually matter. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing these streamings, because we talk about superficial things a lot of times, not just weather, but, work and organizational things. And those are also valid and okay and important. But, how many times we actually sit with a good friend and talk in such a way that it empowers us, that's important, about things like how are we feeling and where we feel our lives going and what we would really like more of in our lives. There's not many times that we are having these kind of conversations with our friends. Oh, well, I do, but I remember the times when it was very different, but most people don't. Okay, so the best is to have this kind of friend who always empowers you once you pick up the phone, because the moaning fest is a different matter. That's sometimes good too, but not for long and not all the time. And if we don't have any friend like this, the coach is a phenomenal thing. But if you don't have a coach and you're not ready yet, try to have a journal and journal yourself. Or even if you have a coach, still have a journal, because writing things down is like you're offloading yourself, and that alone brings more consciousness into how you're feeling and what is really happening in your life. I would say, I was speaking to my my family member. Is kind of complicated, so doesn't matter. But we agreed completely, because she, obviously I won't name her, but she was dealing with postnatal depression, and with a lot of women coming to me with fertility issues, there is a lot of emotions that women are dealing with as well. And we both agreed that these days, and I say it out loud, I never say the word should, but I will use it this time. Okay, I won't use it this time because I never use it anymore. But in ideal world, and let me know if you agree with me, in ideal world, it would be amazing, and I think this world would be much easier place to live in and much better place to live in if we all have opportunity to have some kind of professional talking to us on a regular basis. Imagine if you have someone like every week for an hour to just pause and just talk about things, how you feel, what you want in life. Imagine you have that chance of having someone really kind, someone who listens, who is not going to judge you. That would be amazing. I do that. I have that. And I believe if we all need it, whether we are successful or not, whether we are depressed or not, whether we have happy lives or, fairly satisfied lives or not. Like, we all need it. And I think it's a phenomenal tool how to keep ourselves in shape mentally as well, because let's face it, our mind is very fragile. Anything can trigger the downward spiral, and maybe some of you even know what I'm talking about, maybe most of you. Let me know if I'm making sense. And the last last couple of advices, and I just skim them through because my mouth are getting really dry. Any questions, guys, write to me. I have a look whether I have any comments. If I'm not replying on your comments, I will reply later, because I kind of want to give you all of it and then maybe come back before my kids will wake up. Another thing to do with our emotions, very easy. Take a deep breath. Like, people say it and we take it as a pinch of salt and we go, yeah, deep breath. But actually apply it. Like, take a deep breath, or even like this 5-5-5 breathing, as I call it, like 5 seconds inhale, 5 seconds hold, and 5 seconds exhale. Like, try it out. When you feel this intense emotion, try this one out. And don't say, yeah, just try it. because unless you try it, you won't know whether it actually works for you or whether it's something for you. Another kind of tip I want to give out is know when to express yourself. So channel your emotions and express your emotions in a safe way, and know when and how and to who express yourself. Very important. I know a lot of you, sorry guys, I need to put my leg here. Okay, a lot of you sometimes say to me, Luz, I've got a good friends, and they're fine, but it's just sometimes when I'm speaking about, when I really open up, they start judging me and they just tell me, yeah, I know, I had that too, la la la. And they talk about their story. So a lot of time, the fact is that people don't actually listen a lot of times. A lot of times did you ever had an experience you're talking about your emotions or something that is important to you, and your friends give you their own opinion or their advice and it just doesn't sit right, but because you're so out of balance and you really don't know what to grab hold of in terms of advice or some kind of help, you are even going with that even though it's not the thing for you. That can be a pitfall of the even well-meant but friends advice who is not exactly objective. So be careful about that, guys. So know when and to who express yourself and pour your heart out to. And maybe try meditation. Absolutely. I spoke a lot about meditation. In fact, I think I was posting something on social media recently about all the benefits. Like meditation is absolutely, gold dust. It's not only it helps us to process our emotions, but also how would I explain it? Let me give you an example, like when I meditate, when I don't, because I can be a little bit of snoozy sometimes and I skip my meditations, or sometimes, my life explodes and I don't do it for even a couple of months, and I'm like, suddenly I'm just starting feeling off and different. Well, that's how when I don't meditate or when I don't do my regular yoga practice, I feel kind of like, when you have like scattered brain, like, and everything is very fast paced and happening very quickly, and I'm feeling like out of control. And I'm not enjoying life so much. I don't know how to explain, but it's like being in a wash machine, turmoil, some kind of place. That's when I don't meditate and don't do my regular morning practice. By the way, I do it now at 4:30 in the morning because it's the only time for myself I have these days. When I meditate, when I do my self-practice, I swear to God, like my day is easier, my life gets easier, everything gets, this natural flow. I make a better choices for myself. Everything slows down. I even have a feeling like I've got more time, and somehow, some way, even though I'm very busy girl, everything always gets done and like is synchronized. That's what is happening when I do meditate. It's such a powerful tool, and I prefer and do it whenever we can. But I prefer to do it as a start of the day, because that's how you start the day. That's how you can really start the day powerfully. Give yourself some space. Very, very important. I'm just repeating it. The best space you can give to yourself is to be in communication with some professional that is non-judgmental, that is going to support you and in your life, in what you truly want in life. So whether it's coach or therapist, or write me a message, I'm here for you. And of course, like these advices, like find the way to what works for you. If it's walking out from this, try to walk out from the situation in the moment of the biggest heat, the biggest explosion. So whether it's going for to balcony for breather, or going for a walk if you can, or changing environment, just walking out of the situation is very, very important to bring yourself into the perspective. It's never so bad as it is in that heated emotion, but it has a tendency to swamp us if we don't step back and pause and take ourselves out of situation. And then like you can interrupt the process, even like watching the funny video, whatever works for you. Do something loving for yourself. Do the opposite of what you would do normally. So if you would normally go for a cigarette, have an apple, do something different. That's also very, very good to test, what else can be possible for ourselves inside the heated emotions, and how that can actually, impact, and observe how that can change the whole process afterwards in your day. And staying on the top of the stress is preventing these high emotions. And again, it's about awareness, it's about self-practice, it's about, having a support structure in your life where before it gets too much, before it gets dauntingly scary and you don't know how to cope or how to get yourself out of the hole, it's very, very important to have a support structure and system, how you can cope, doing the sport, doing the meditation, yoga, having a coach, probably like, I have it as a, combination of all these things. That's what works for me, exercise, good food. It's all like snowballing positive way, positive direction if you do all these things. But I'm talking the obvious. I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. But most importantly, guys, if you are in a place, and I would like to wrap up this way, where your emotions are taking control of you and you really don't know like where to take it from here, and you tried and it didn't work, or whatever you do, it doesn't seem to, it works a little bit, but you really it's still having an impact, negative impact on your life. Don't be alone in this. Like, it can be done in a very easy way, fairly in a fast way. I mean, it depends, right? All of my clients are very different. Sometimes it's smooth, sometimes it takes longer time, sometimes it's we go through bumps, but it can be fairly straightforward process. The most important thing is the first step, that you reach out, that you get to the point where you get, okay, I'm actually done with this. I believe there is something better and possible for me in my life, in terms of my relationships, in terms of my career, in terms of my belief whether I can get pregnant or not, in terms of this kind of IVF, whatever challenges you are dealing with. I'm mentioning IVF because I work with a lot of ladies who are on their fertility journey as well. So guys, don't be alone, speak. And please remember, we are all human beings, you and I, same thing. I'm not perfect. I'm just here. And for 20 years, what I've been doing and what I'm passionate about is to support people like you. So reach out. I'll be very happy to hear from you. Send me a message and let me know also, what would you like to talk about next? Like, what interests you? What would you like to find out more? Even if it's something like specific for you in your life, whatever you are dealing with right now, I would love to hear. You can send me a personal message, and if not straight away, I will definitely respond to you in a couple of days when I find it, because quite a few of them coming through, but I will always reply. I promise you that. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm so glad we went through all of it. Obviously, I can talk forever about emotions. That's why the comments are here. That's why there is further interaction. Let's talk more. But for now, I'm going to say I love you. Have a great, great weekend, everyone. Today's Friday. Have a great weekend. We are going to celebrate birthday on Sunday. My kids are 3 years old, so very excited now. We are on the mend now, so we are going to be healthy, bringing all family together on Sunday. Can't wait. Let me know what you're up to this weekend. Have a great, great one. Bye-bye for now.